Hey, wanted to get a quick unboxing and first impressions of the new Whoop 5.0, the MG version. If you're familiar with Whoop, you know that they now have unveiled the new products, the 5.0, and it comes in 3 different tiers or variants of it. This is the medical grade one, that's what the MG stands for, and it's on the life tier membership plan. So we got that, and we're gonna unbox that with some first impressions as well as just an upcycle for the 4.0. I have been on Whoop for close to 5 years now, and I have been through 3.0, 4.0, and now this is 5.0. So excited to get into kind of what that entails. So this just was announced on, I want to say Thursday. So let's get a downward view here and kind of go over that device. If you can see there, looks great. It's kind of got the Apple-esque type packaging. If you can see, they have the pull tab right here. So let's see, open that right up, and then great unboxing experience. They've been refining that to make it more, I mean, this is really cool. You see on the inside, it's got some little textured logos relating to various events that you can track with the Whoop. So that's really cool. And here's the actual device itself. Let's see if we can. There we go. I think this is the black obsidian, like the baseline version of the band here. Kind of got dusty already. But yeah, excited. This is my 4.0. One of the big changes you can already see is now they just have the Whoop logo, so the W, instead of the actual whole name written out, which is cool to me. And then, so here's the main device. We're not going to pull that pull tab just yet. All right, we're gonna give it a second there. And here is the wireless power pack. Looks a little bit different. Now there's a couple things that have changed that are major on the 5.0, I think, regardless of whether you get their middle tier option, which is peak, or life. And that is that the wireless charger is still wireless. Now if you get their what they're calling the most accessible version, which is called I believe Whoop 1, you will get a wired cable, so no wireless there. But got some branding there. The last one did not have branding, if I remember correctly. That said Whoop on the actual band itself. And like I said, one of the biggest upgrades, and probably the most major, is the battery life. Now this is supposed to boast a 14-day battery life on the actual Whoop 5.0. And then also the power pack itself is supposed to have 14 days of additional battery life. And one of the biggest changes about that I've been listening to the Whoop podcast for a number of years too, they talked about is when you had the previous wireless power pack, which I have 2 of, one in like a nice neon variant. The problem was, let's say my wife wants to use it, she's on Whoop as well, and she takes it, puts it in her purse, and she doesn't need it right away. As soon as you kind of remove it from, I had mine connected to my laptop, so it was always there. But as soon as you pretty much remove it and it starts moving around, it's losing a charge immediately. So these new ones also are supposed to hold the charge. So if I was to charge this up and then pop it on, let's say I'm going on a vacation for 2 weeks and I pop this in my bag fully charged, it should not lose a charge at all. So when I'm ready to charge the actual new device up, it shouldn't be losing that charge, which is really nice. And only thing left is probably a quick start guide or something like that. Not really going to look into that, so I'm not too worried about it. And another thing that's very different, if you can see here, since the MG comes with the ECG reader feature, it's got these indents on either side, which is useful for that. Let's see, do we want to, let's open up the gifting. So you can gift 4.0 and get rewarded. So I think basically if you gift this the old 4.0 device to somebody, I think they get 2 free months of using it, and then they can decide whether or not they want to stay with Whoop. If they stay with Whoop, I believe you get a certain amount of credits on your end, like as a person who referred them, so to speak, which is interesting. I believe this should include a new band here. Let me see. Yep, so there's a new band there, which is nice. And I believe there's some kind of, oh, there's some stickers too, which is kind of interesting. They've never given stickers if you bought a Whoop before. So, but they're giving them to prospective customers, I guess. So that's interesting. And I believe there is a sanitizing wipe. So if you didn't sanitize the device well enough before you hand it off, I guess, you know, somebody could also sanitize the device. I am a fan of this I don't know what you want to call it, upcycling program, but it is kind of weird to send somebody a 4.0 when kind of 5 is the newest hardware. So it's kind of like you're sending them a little bit, but I guess it's a get your feet wet type opportunity, so can't be too mad about that. So let's put that gift box away. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that one yet, but I mean, it's nice that they include that for free as well. So let's take a look at the device. That silver is very interesting, and there was no like black on black. Like for example, my current Whoop, it's black on black. So it's really interesting how that works. I am actually gonna take off the previous Whoop. Probably got a little tan line there, yeah. But yeah, if you can see kind of that black on black there, which is interesting. But I know with medical grade, I think there has to be a certain amount of stainless steel or titanium that really helps complete that like circuit that's required on there. So we are going to pull up on that, and then pop the fast link off. And even this fast link connector is a little bit different. It's a little streamlined, and I don't know if it's a little bit easier to put on. I think they mentioned that it should be faster, and I agree, it does seem a bit faster. Here you've got the new sensors on the bottom. I believe there's some changes with the sensors as well. This one says Whoop MG always on, and the old one said Whoop 4.0 always on. So it's very interesting, but the sensor array itself looks the same. So it has like 5 little pieces, like 5 little sections or whatever. So it's very interesting. But yeah, so this is the new one. Let me actually we'll show setting up the device. So I am going to actually grab my smartphone, and let's head into the Whoop app. Let me try to get the view on this a little bit better. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out the best way to show the view of that. What I think I'm gonna do is 1, 2, 3. All right. So let's take a look at this. Hopefully this view is not too jarring. Okay, so when you go into the app, it looks like I do have if my Whoop is off body for more than 10 minutes, send me a notification, so that's up there. What I'm going to do, this is my other Whoop here. So I think what I can do is pair it here. Slide the charger on to wake up your Whoop. That's interesting. So let me set that down. Kind of set this Whoop up again right here. And then slide that charger pack on. Okay, so we're getting a blue light there. Now let's go to next. Searching for strap, I believe should be that one. Yep, it's got the logo. It's gonna pair. Connected. I'm ready to go. Okay. We'll see if there's any like type of software updates that need to be done there, or what's the deal. Okay. Seems to just, oh yeah, and it's already so I had this on previously. I'd like to keep it on. Let's do a firmware check. Okay. I figured there would be a firmware update, seeing as this is a newer device. Let's rename that while we're here. Okay, so you see up top it says updating your firmware. So hopefully that doesn't take too long. No, it might be hopeful. Give me 1 second. Looks like my Wi-Fi is connecting to something different here. Okay. Now the Wi-Fi is good. And as you can see, the blue light there. But yeah, we should be able to see. I'm going to pop in here. So, some of these things were, for me, previously like grayed out. And one of the new software features for the 5.0, I believe it's on the MG. So the life tier, MG is just the hardware. But on the life tier and the peak tier, I believe, I'm not sure. It might, the health span might not be on the life tier, but basically they're revealing Whoop age, which is very interesting. Health monitor was always a thing. Blood pressure insights, that's something that's new and specific. And then there's a heart screener. Now, from the heart screener, I want to say there were certain things that weren't available to the US, which was interesting. Let's get a real-time look at the age here. As you see, this is introducing health span, and it goes over a few things, metrics that map the health. I want to say it's based on 9 different data points. And if you're younger in age, I doubt mine will be younger, just because, frankly, I've been slacking a lot over the years. But it'll have different things. So older Whoop age is kind of yellow. It's just very different. So they've got the, yeah, trending faster. It's very interesting. Let's reveal mine in real time. Let's see what's going on. Wow. Look, see? That's what I'm talking about. Like, very much not really that shocking, though. So this is also going to be something where want to upgrade that over and kind of, I mean, the gamification of health is always good because you want this not to be yellow. So you're going to be able to learn about the different factors. Now, my VO2 max, I don't know if it's ever calculated that really well. I mean, I just don't get very good sleep either, so that doesn't help. But there's a number of things that kind of play into that. And let's go. We have heart screener. Oops, that is not what I'm looking for there. But yeah, you can set up ECG, and then it has all these confirmations. Basically, if you already know you have arrhythmias other than AFib, or even AFib itself, I believe, it says that you shouldn't be really utilizing this, as you'll constantly get notified over and over again. But yeah, so you can do ECGs here, and it even kind of goes through, here's what that looks like, the closed circuit that I was telling you about. Low and low. So I think some of this notification, irregular, there's something called like an irregular rhythm notification. I believe in the US that's not necessarily available right now. Let's see, it says take your first ECG. I have not even put the device on. Give me 1 second. Let's put the device on first. I'm also interested to see like how this feels compared to, I mean, I have been wearing the various Whoop hardware for close to 5 years, I want to say. So I will say, so far, I have not found, one of the things they talked about was this fast connector being better. To me, it's worse. Previously, here is the previous model, 4.0, right? So if I wanted to do this, I'd come around here, and look how wide this is to catch this. It's very easy. See how it catches there? Very easy. Now, it's a lot easier to maneuver and slip off now, but once you actually lock it in, that's no longer a problem. So when you clasp it over, easy to connect there. When I'm actually on wrist, this is a lot more difficult to do. There's just so much more resistant. So it's actually not as fast to me. They said the fast slider mechanism was improved. I wouldn't consider that an improvement right now. And maybe it's just, you know, I don't have a lot of experience in this new one, but yeah, it's not all that to me. So going to put this on the wrist, and then we'll see what the ECG looks like. Also, they talked about this being 7% smaller. Now, I'm not sure in what ways it's smaller. It feels, I guess, a little bit slimmer on the wrist, which 7% is just not the biggest number in the world. But it's not what I thought it would be. So I wear my Whoop on my left wrist. I am actually ambidextrous. I use my left hand for all my writing though, and right hand for most of my sports. But I have an Apple Watch on the right hand, so that kind of dictates where my Whoop goes. So place your thumb and index finger. So let's see. Okay. No, I haven't experienced any of that. All right, and then it gives you what's not detected there. So normal sinus rhythm. Yep, that's what you want. So that's very interesting there. Then we've got also this blood pressure insights. Now this is going to be very intriguing to me, and I don't know of many wearables, I'm not actually aware of any, that are able to do that. So that middle little diode looking thing, I guess that is the blood pressure one, which is interesting because that was also present on the 4.0. It just didn't do that. None of the above. Okay. Wellness tool. So they're pitching this as a wellness tool. What I think that means is they have not received like FDA approval, or probably didn't want to run through those regulatory hurdles. So they're saying it's a wellness tool. Now I actually do have a blood pressure cuff, and I've actually been a part of some Whoop testing on their 4.0 devices for blood pressure utilizing that cuff, right? So it's like one of these. So I'm not going to do that in this actual video, set my baseline and all that, but from what I've seen, you first have to calibrate it once with a regular cuff, and then it will use that to somehow determine and estimate some of the previous stuff. So unfortunately, we're not gonna pop into that one right now. But you can see the ECG, and then you can go back in and look at some reports, which is interesting. It's got these wavelengths, which is nice. And yeah, so is a medically, okay, so this is the heart screener is medically regulated. So that's something that seems like they got some okay, and it even says health span, health monitor, blood pressure, stress monitor, not medical, and cannot diagnose and manage. So they're kind of giving you the heads up, like, hey, we can't say this is everything. But yeah, so this is kind of what's here. Like I said previously, a lot of these were grayed out, like heart screener, and then it had like the various tiers you needed to be on to access it. So I think the heart screener, I want to say that might have just said life, because you have to have the MG hardware to close those circuits. I think the health span might have said life and peak. And technically peak is the carryover from what's the current 4.0. Previous to 5.0, there was only one subscription tier. It was just 4.0. Now that is going to transition over to what's called peak. And I believe you can still find a way to pay for that monthly, but the price point has gone up to $40 a month if you do that. So annually, the price has increased on the top tier, which I have here called Life. That's going to be $359 annually. So that's interesting, as I had previously been paying $190 because at the end of the year they would do some type of challenge and it would give you like 15% off. So it's a substantial increase in the price, but obviously development of features and new like research and stuff like that is not cheap. So I think it's worth it for me, but also looking to get this number down. So it's interesting to see kind of what's going on with some of these new features, and interested to, you know, just get it all figured out. But yeah, if you have any questions there that I can assist in answering, be sure and leave some comments. We're going to get a long form review. I have never done a long form review of the Whoop, so it's something I've been meaning to do. As it, you know, I'm carrying a lot of different fitness trackers. I still have the Apple Watch and things like that. So looking to get some comparisons and maybe help some people decide, like, is this the device for you? Some people get like data fatigue, so maybe not, but I enjoy having all the data I can, and I've gotten years and years worth of reports via Whoop that I can kind of fall back on for that. So it is very interesting to see, and I'm interested to see if you are someone who's into cutting edge features. I feel like the Life tier is for you. Whoop has already hinted at any new possible features that come out going to the Life tier, if not first, exclusively. So I would just say Whoop seems to always be innovating, and that's part of going to that subscription-based model, was it kind of forces them to innovate over time. But it has been, I want to say, 3 to 4 years since we were on 4.0, and there was new features added to that. I believe the stress monitor wasn't necessarily there in launch, and they just recently redesigned the UI, so all these little graphs you kind of see at the top are very different, and this health specific tab in general is new. It wasn't like that previously, which if you're on their subreddit is a polarizing and volatile topic, but you know, they're always innovating in different ways, and software is one of those ways. So I think if you're looking for the cutting edge, the Life tier is where it's at. But if you want to stay on some similar pricing to before, I think then that peak tier is where you want to be at. But my membership actually doesn't renew until October, so I'm just I paid that one-time fee to jump up to the newest hardware. But it is very interesting. One thing I am particularly frustrated about is all the old accessories like the battery packs and the bands are not compatible going across, because this is a little bit thinner, I believe. It doesn't look it, but it's already been confirmed these bands do not transition over, and I probably have 6 or 7 over the course of, you know, it's been years. Like I said, I've been wearing Whoop since 3.0. So it's just a little frustrating, and I have multiple battery packs. Like I said, I even have the neon green one, which is really nice. So that is not going to transition over. Now, this actual battery pack does have like a little bit of clear right here, which is interesting, but I'll take the upgrades because now this is not going to lose charge via like trickling, as it's not connected to the charger, and it holds 14 extra days here. So I'll take it. But yeah, a lot of the things from an accessory perspective are rendered useless outside of if you bought into the apparel that you can stick the sensors into. I think the 4.0 apparel works for the most part. So that'll transition over, but yeah, everything else is like pretty much useless. So probably carry all my additional bands, put them back into the place where I have some of my 3.0 bands. So, but the future is here. I like the MG. I got the MG hardware. I believe this is like a Lux Obsidian. I don't, like I said, don't think they have the black on black yet. And they've also introduced some additional new bands. I probably won't check those out. I don't know about, they have a leather Lux, but to me, my Whoop gets wet all the time, and leather just getting wet is not something that I'd like. So I don't know. I like their Sports Flex, and I like their Hydro Knit. This is actually a Hydro Knit one here that is actually a replacement. When the Sport Flex first came out and they introduced them, mine broke within a month, and I wasn't using it heavily. There was some kind of design flaw there, so they actually replaced it with this Hydro Knit, which is great. You can get it wet and it dries a lot easier, so that's kind of my preference, or the Sport Flex. So yeah, that is Whoop 5.0 MG. We're on that life tier. So what you can expect with that is everything, all the bells and whistles: health span, blood pressure insights, heart screener, depending on, now the heart screener and stuff like that are all dependent on your region, but yeah, for the most part, you get a lot. So stay tuned and let me know what you want to, if there's anything specific you want to hear about via Whoop or something else related to fitness tracking. But appreciate you tuning in, and if you haven't subscribed, lock in with that subscribe button. Thanks. Peace.